What if the very feeling you're fighting, that soul-to-deep weariness, the quiet urge to just lay down your tools and sigh at the whole cosmic project, isn't a sign you're failing, but the precise, hidden doorway you've been walking toward all along? Let's be honest, you've climbed every spiritual mountain they told you to climb. You've forgiven, you've visualized, you've released, you've claimed, you've done the celestial homework, and yet, here you are. The horizon of union hasn't gotten an inch closer, but something inside you has shifted irrevocably. It feels less like waiting and more like a silent, profound regrouping. It's as if your spirit has called a sovereign timeout, and in this strange, suspended hush, you're hearing a new question. It's not, when will they come? It's softer, more disarming. What becomes possible in you, for you, when you truly stop counting the days? This is the uncharted territory we're navigating today. Forget the well-trodden talk of runners and chasers, of magnetic poles and divine timing. We're going deeper into the quiet catacombs of your own consciousness, where the final contract of this journey is actually signed. It's a place where the feminine principle, that intuitive, receiving, meaning-making force within you, regardless of gender, faces its most elegant and terrifying assignment: to build a home for your wholeness, not in the future, but in the unglamorous, breathtakingly ordinary present. This is where the magic you've sought externally turns out to be a craft you learn internally with the most mundane of materials, the kind of shift that happens not when the heavens part, but when you choose, for the 10,000th time, to be kind to yourself in the silence. It's a path that leads to a destination so surprising you might realize you've already arrived. Let's talk about the feeling you've been trying to spiritualize your way out of. That deep, bone-tired weariness that no amount of sage, affirmations, or tarot spreads seems to touch. You call it burnout. You call it waiting fatigue. You call it the dark night of the soul. And it is all those things. But I want to offer you a different name for it. A name that doesn't frame it as a breakdown, but as a brilliant, strategic intervention by your own soul. Let's call it what it is: sacred exhaustion. This isn't just you being tired of the situation. This is your entire being going on strike against a life lived in the waiting room. You know the scene. You've done the work. Oh, have you done the work? You've journaled until your hand cramped, mediated until you saw lights behind your eyelids, forgiven people you've never even met in past lives. You've analyzed every text, every silence, every celestial event, from the 11 and 11s in the morning to the full moon in Scorpio. And for a while, it felt like progress, right? It felt like spiritual diligence, but then a shift, a quiet hollowing out. That morning ritual that used to bring comfort now feels like a hollow performance. Picking up the crystals feels like lifting bricks. The motivational videos sound like static. The very thought of sending one more healing light their way makes you want to lie down on the floor and stare at the ceiling. This, my friend, is not a sign you're failing. This is the sign you're ready. Think of it like this. Your psyche has an immune system. For years, maybe lifetimes, it's tolerated a certain low-grade fever of longing, a persistent infection of someday, maybe. Your ego, that wonderful, desperate manager of your life, has been running a frantic triage unit, throwing coping mechanisms at the problem. Fantasy, analysis, pursuit, spiritual bypassing. It's been using the language of soul connection to fuel what is, at its core, a profound anxiety. And then, one day, your soul's immune system says, "Enough, shut it down." The fever spikes. The fatigue is total. This is sacred exhaustion, the point where your being refuses to participate in its own depletion any longer. It's not a punishment. It's the most loving boundary your own divinity can set. We're so afraid of this emptiness, this stillness. We scramble to fill it with more seeking, more content, more community posts, asking, is this normal? But what if this hollowed out feeling is the very thing you've been praying for? What if it's the clean, empty socket, finally free of the old aching tooth? Jung talked about the nigurdo, the blackening, the putrefaction stage in alchemy, where everything breaks down into prime matter. It looks like death. It feels like failure. It smells, frankly, a bit embarrassing. Who wants to admit their spiritual journey has led them to a couch-bound state of profound meh, where even the drama of heartbreak has lost its flavorful sting? You're not even sad in a poetic way anymore. You're just done. And in that doneness, something miraculous is hiding. The loss of leverage. See, your old patterns, your chase, your beautiful, aching hope, they all had leverage over you. They could make you jump, cry, plot, and pray. Sacred exhaustion cuts the strings. The puppet no longer responds. The phone rings, or more likely, it doesn't. And your nervous system doesn't even flinch. It's too busy conserving energy for basic life support. This is where the real magic becomes possible. Because for the first time, you're not being driven by the desperate energy of, how do I get there? You're being asked the only question that matters from a place of still, quiet truth. What is here now if I completely stop trying to get there? It's a divine boredom, a sacred shrug, and it's the most fertile ground your soul has ever known. Because when you can no longer run the old software, the universe can finally install the update. This exhaustion is the prerequisite reboot. You're not lazy. You're not giving up. You're in a profound state of psychic digestion, where all the lessons, the synchronicities, the pains, and the glimpses are being broken down into a form of fuel you can actually use, not to chase a union, but to become one within yourself. So the next time you feel that heavy, I can't even sensation rising, don't reach for another tool. Don't call a friend to dissect the energy. Lie down, be bored, be tired, let the world fall away. Trust that this is not a blockage on your path. This is the path. It's the universe gently prying your fingers, one by one, off the steering wheel you were never meant to death grip in the first place. The exhaustion is the invitation to stop doing the journey and start allowing it to carry you. And you know the wild part? This state of gracious surrender, this claimed emptiness, it's the very frequency that realigns everything. But how do you move from this stillness without falling back into the old, frantic doing? Well, that's where the secret lies, not in grand gestures, but in the almost invisible choices you make while you're still tired. Let's get brutally practical for a moment. We've talked about the grand exhaustion, the soul's strike. But what happens in the quiet, unspectacular morning after? This is where the real magic is concealed, not in the lightning bolt of awakening, but in the gentle, stubborn flicker of a candle you decide to light for yourself, day after ordinary day. You see, the final portal isn't a one-time event you stumble through. It's a structure you build with the humble, overlooked bricks of your daily existence. And the blueprint is found in your micro-choices, those seemingly insignificant moments where you vote, with your action or inaction, for which version of you gets to run the show. Think of your energy, your consciousness, as a vast, fertile land. For years, perhaps, you've allowed a single, mesmerizing crop to dominate the entire field. The crop of what if. It's a hungry, dramatic plant that sucks all nutrients, demanding constant attention, checking the weather, their social media, analyzing the soil, the astrology charts, praying for a specific rain, a text message. Sacred exhaustion is the season where that crop fails. It withers. And you're left standing in what feels like barren dirt. The grand gesture? That's you trying to plant another massive, frantic crop overnight. But the true architect knows you don't rebuild a landscape with a single dramatic act. You rebuild it by introducing new, resilient seeds into the daily rotation. You reclaim the land inch by tender inch. So what is this portal made of physically in your real life? It's made of the moment you choose the actual physical apple over scrolling through pictures of imagined future picnics with them. It's the deep, intentional breath you take when the anxiety rises like a tidal wave. Not to spiritually bypass the feeling, but to give your nervous system the message: I am here. I am holding you. We are not fleeing. It's the brutal, beautiful honesty of catching yourself mid-fantasy, that elaborate Oscar winner of a reunion scene in your head, and gently, without self-flagellation, saying, "Hello, my love. I see you longing. Now, what's true in this room right now?" And then listening to the hum of the fridge, feeling the texture of the couch, witnessing the slant of afternoon light on the floor. That is a micro-choice. That is laying a brick. We have this cosmic, glamorous idea of alignment. We think it's lions roaring on savannas, fireworks of synchronicity, a phone ringing with destiny on the line. But true alignment is a much quieter, more meticulous craft. It's the alignment of your minute-to-minute behavior with the truth of your soul's sovereignty, especially when you feel powerless. It's you choosing to pay the bill you've been avoiding because you're too lost in longing. And in doing so, you whisper to the universe, "I am capable of managing my realm." It's you shutting the laptop after 30 minutes of obsessive research into their life and opening a book, any book, that interests your mind, not their mystery. This isn't about pretending you don't care. This is about proving to the deepest, most skeptical part of your being that you care more about the integrity of your own consciousness. Jung didn't just talk about big dreams. He talked about the constant, tiny dialogues between the conscious and the unconscious. This is that dialogue in overalls and work boots. Every time you choose to cook a nourishing meal instead of skipping it because my heart is too heavy, you send a signal, this vessel matters. Every time you withhold the clever late-night text that's really a disguised hook, You exercise a muscle of dignified restraint you didn't know you had. Every time you feel the pull to dissect a mutual friend's comment for hidden clues, and you instead call that friend to ask about their life, you shift the entire axis of your energy from consumption to connection. You're not waiting for a portal to appear. You are literally architecting the doorway around yourself through mundane, sacred ritual. The lock isn't released by a secret spiritual password they utter. It clicks open through the cumulative friction of 10,000 tiny turnings toward self-honor. This is why it's so elusive. It doesn't look or feel spiritual in the Instagram sense. It feels like laundry. It feels like taxes. It feels like choosing to go to bed early. It's the absolute rebellion against the grandiosity of the twin flame narrative, bringing it down to earth, to the dirt under your fingernails, as you plant a real herb in a real pot on your very real windowsill. And here's the mysterious, glorious paradox they never tell you. This daily architecture of mundane choices becomes the high vibration frequency. You're not doing boring things to get to a high vibe. The conscientious, present, self-respecting doing of the boring thing is the high vibe. The peace you seek isn't a glittering city on a hill you reach after the journey. It's the gravel under your feet as you walk, the rhythm of your breath, the decision to tie your shoe properly and keep going. The portal is the path itself, paved with your own attentive footsteps. So you'll likely never have a vision of a literal shimmering gate. You'll have something better. A Tuesday, a perfectly ordinary Tuesday where you cried in the shower, then dried off, made tea, finished a work project, felt a pang of missing them, smiled at a meme from a friend, and went to sleep without checking their status once. And as you drift off, a thought floats through, gentle as a feather. I am here. I am okay. In that unrecorded, uncelebrated moment, the final brick settles into place. You've been building it all along, and you'll wake up already standing in the world your own hands have rebuilt. A world where wholeness isn't a destination, but the very ground you walk on. And the most fascinating part? Once this inner architecture feels like home, you'll begin to notice the world outside has a strange new way of echoing its design. But that's a conversation for when your own foundation is truly complete. So here you are, not at the dramatic storybook ending you once pictured, the running through an airport, the tearful reunion under a symbolic full moon, but somewhere far more real, far more solid. You're standing in the middle of your own life, and it occurs to you with a sudden, gentle clarity. The searching has softened, not vanished, but transformed. It's no longer a frantic scanning of the horizon for a silhouette. It's become a quiet, attentive presence to the ground beneath your own feet. The irony isn't lost on you, is it? That by finally releasing your white-knuckled grip on the idea of the union, you've stumbled into the only union that could ever truly sustain you, the seamless integration of you with you. This is the true crossing. Not a line drawn in the sand of some spiritual beach, but a gradual, irrevocable shift in your inner atmosphere. You've stopped living in the referendum of their choices. Your joy, your peace, your sense of worth These are no longer bills waiting to be stamped by the external post office of their attention. You've become your own sovereign nation with your own customs of self-care, your own currency of self-respect, your own borders fiercely and lovingly guarded. And from this place, the entire landscape of union is recast. It's no longer a distant city you must desperately trek toward. It's the quality of the air right here in your own kingdom. Think of it like learning a mother tongue you never knew you'd forgotten. At first, you fumble with the vocabulary of self-worth, conjugate awkward verbs of boundary setting. But with each daily micro-choice, each time you choose silence over speculation, your own company over anxious chasing, you become more fluent. Until one day, you realize you're thinking in this language. The old tongue of lack and longing now sounds like a distant, melodramatic dialect. You don't hate it, you just don't speak it natively anymore. Your internal monologue has changed stations, and this new frequency doesn't broadcast crisis. It transmits a steady, hummable tune of continuity. You are no longer a story punctuated by their presence or absence. You are a complete sentence. And what of the twin flame? Oh, they're still there, in your heart's gallery. But the portrait has been moved. It's no longer the central, blinding altarpiece before which you knelt. It's been hung on a different wall, still cherished, still beautiful in its meaning, but now surrounded by other vibrant artworks. Your burgeoning creativity, your healed friendships, your quiet triumphs, the simple masterpiece of a peaceful morning. The connection hasn't been demoted, it's been contextualized. It's part of your collection, not the sole reason for the museum's existence. This is the hope I want to leave shimmering with you. The goal was never to arrive at a person. It was to become a person. A whole, complex, gloriously imperfect human being who can hold love without being crushed by its weight, who can feel desire without being enslaved by its narrative. The path hasn't been a cruel detour from your happiness. It has been the precise, winding, necessary route to your own unshakable core. You haven't been waiting for love. You've been in a fierce, formative apprenticeship to it, and you've graduated, not with a diploma to hang, but with a new set of eyes to see with. So if you look out at your life today and feel a pang for what isn't physically manifest, meet that feeling with this new, gentle authority. You are no longer building a home for a future guest. You have, brick by conscious brick, built a home for the soul that you are. And a home, a true home, is not a waiting room. It's a place of practice, of rest, of creation. It has a hearth that warms you now. It has windows that let in your own light. The door is on a latch, not a lock, able to welcome in what aligns, able to remain shut in sacred peace. You are both the architect and the inhabitant. The journey ahead. It's no longer defined by a single burning question. It unfolds as a series of quieter, more interesting curiosities. How deep can this self-compassion go? What wonders can I create from this place of inherent abundance? What does love look like when it flows from a cup that's already overflowing? You get to explore that, not as a seeker, but as a discoverer. The frantic seeking has burned away in the sacred exhaustion, and what remains is a luminous, attentive curiosity about your own beautiful existence. You didn't lose a fairy tale. you outgrew the need for one. And in that shedding, you've been gifted something infinitely more durable, a reality textured with your own grace, resilient with your own truth, and bright with a peace that doesn't depend on a single other soul's arrival. You are, at last, the living answer to your own oldest prayer. And from this vantage point, every path that leads forward with or without a familiar hand to hold simply looks like life. And life, your life, reclaimed, is more than enough. It is everything. And you know, the most curious thing begins to happen once you've settled into this new country of self. The outside world starts to feel strangely, wonderfully familiar in a way it never did before. But that sensation, that feeling of being met by life itself, well, that's a story that writes itself differently for every soul who's brave enough to finally come home.